All right, Dave Sokol, you were one of the premier sponsors at Kickstart 26, so I want to thank you for that. I want to give people maybe a useful 10 minutes or so with you, whether they attended or not, that they can learn a few things from you and about you. So let's keep this with the whole engage, equip, empower motif that we had at the event.
Perfect.
You want to do that?
That sounds great.
Okay. So Dave owns Wilshire Benefits Group. They specialize in employee benefits like health, life, insurance, and then 401ks. Typical client you serve 30 people or so, up to several thousand. Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's squarely in that middle market, just like Oxium.
Very much so.
Okay. So Dave, let me ask you some questions. In on the engage side here, when a CEO calls you, what are they usually really worried about underneath what might be under the guise of a benefits conversation?
Yeah, Matt. Thank you. So I think, especially in the last 2 to 3 years, costs are kind of exploding in the whole benefit realm. Medical costs are going double-digit increases. We're going on 3 years in a row of three of the toughest years I've seen in terms of renewal increases in the business, and I've been doing this for 25 plus years. So cost is always a concern, right? And then I think in there, what we're seeing is a trend in our industry of just kind of a lack of service, or turnover at their existing broker, or maybe a feeling that my broker's been complacent, because a lot of our competitors, I think, are being stretched to do more with less. So they're not quite stepping up on the service front that maybe they used to in the past. And just it's always healthy every 3, 4, 5 years to get an outside evaluation of a program like benefits. Benefits for most businesses, it's the second largest line item on their budget next to wages. So it's a lot of dollars. We need to make sure we're spending them correctly, that we're not getting, we can't get better value out of the money we're spending there. So our employees appreciate it. We get the biggest bang for the buck.
Got it. Got it. What does great benefits actually mean in
Hmm.
2026? Is it cost? Is it experience? Is it retention? Is it all the above? What do you think?
Yeah, I think for our goal for our clients is to take whatever budget they're capable of allocating and putting together the most comprehensive professional benefit package we can, within their budget, within their size and reason, so that the employees that they hire feel like, hey, I have what I need here. Like, I'm not going to go looking for another job because they have, some other, multiple medical plan options or better disability coverage or something like that. So, putting it together, whether the company's paying for all of the benefits, some of the benefit, or none of it, having it available through payroll deduction, and then having it professionally communicated in a way that educates their employees on what's available. That's another thing I see, is that many employees don't fully understand the benefits that they have available to them, and their employers are spending a lot of money on it. So it's a never-ending battle to educate and train people on how to use these things.
Sure. Yeah, that's got to be about the worst thing, right? Is underutilized a benefit that you're offering that nobody's using.
Correct, and they're not aware it exists.
What would you say? What's the biggest myth? What's something that people that, especially the leaders that you're talking to, a myth in the benefit strategy that you wish more leaders would let go of? Maybe some old myths, some old thoughts about it that have just changed.
Yeah, there's a handful that come to mind with that, Matt. I think one is the notion of the term high deductible health plan with a corresponding health savings account. We have to come up with a better name. We actually have come up with a better name for some of our clients. We call it our Smart Savers account, because it really is the smartest way for most people to save and build money in the future for healthcare expenses. So a lot of people still don't like the concept of a high deductible health plan, but once you understand the power of a health savings account, and if you're a saver and able to plan, it's one of the best retirement savings vehicles available. It's the only product that's triple tax free. So it's a tax deduction going in, or it's a deductible contribution going in. The money grows and compounds tax deferred. And when it comes out, it's non taxable for any medical expenses at any point in your life. And we're all going to have them.
Mm.
So that's a big one. The other thing I think I see a lot of is companies spending a lot of effort and attention on medical offerings, but then not really paying attention to some other critical benefits that are available. One of them being, I think the second most important benefit that companies can offer is long-term disability protection. Employees appreciate dental insurance and vision because they use it, but it's really financially not that robust of a product. We can get by without it. Many companies offer a nominal life insurance benefit, which can be valuable to the employee if something happens, unfortunately. But people are much more um, likely to stop working before retirement because of a disability versus a death. And then
Mm.
understanding what that really looks like when you have a 40-year-old or 50-year-old making 70 grand a year and they can't work again. If they don't have that properly protected, it's a disaster. Or seeing companies
Sure.
where we have a one size fits all approach to that, and we have a $5,000 or $10,000 max monthly benefit, and you've got owners and executives making substantially more than that, and if they become disabled, it's really a disaster for their lifestyle. So just having a balanced benefit plan and paying attention to the things that are really important and impactful, I think, is important.
Got it. Got it. Let's go with the equip mode here, especially like on cost and renewals. If you could do maybe one, two, three things, say 6 months before your renewal date, you want to avoid surprises. What would those be? What would a business leader want to be thinking about?
Yeah, I think if you're a larger group, especially over 100 employees, your claims experience is available each month from whether it's an insurance carrier or a third-party administrator that's managing that. So making sure your broker is reporting to you monthly claims report activity, so you're not surprised by the trend of which direction your claims costs are going. Exploring alternate funding strategies. So if you're fully insured, definitely getting educated on, what does a health reimbursement arrangement look like? Why would I consider that? What are captive options for, captive health solutions or consortium based plans? And then self-funding, what does that look like? So you may not pull the trigger on it, but it usually takes companies a year or two or three to think about it before they move into taking on more risk themselves and what that looks like. So just planning, having a strategy going into open enrollment so that we know these things we're fairly happy with, and we really want to explore maybe an alternate medical offering this year. We should be talking about all that well before your renewal comes out, and not just waiting to see what the renewal is and then reacting from there. We want to give ourselves time to affect and make changes if we need to, and not run out of clock to affect a
Sure.
change and based
Yeah,
on not
because
being
you,
proactive.
you need the time to make those changes. I understand that.
Correct.
I'm a culture guy. I know you're a culture guy. The culture of your company is amazing. Um, how should leaders be thinking about benefits as a part of culture, not just as part of compensation? How do you institute
Yeah.
that?
I think no matter what size company you are, um, especially in Michigan, it's kind of inbred in our community that benefits are an important package for most employees. If you're employing people who are primary breadwinners for their family or substantial breadwinners for their family, they want financial security protection. So having a package that addresses both, medical coverage, which is always the most important and emotional part of a benefit package, but also not ignoring the power of having a solid life and disability package for people to protect their financial security if something bad happens to them is a big deal. And then communicating it in a way that's probably the biggest obstacle we have, Matt, is companies spend so much money on this stuff, and then once a year we might do an employee education session on it, and a lot of companies don't even make that mandatory, so people aren't hearing the latest updates or really understanding the choices that they have, and they're just kind of rolling from one year to the next, not making changes and not thinking about it. So teaching people how to be better consumers of healthcare, where to go to get the most effective, efficient costs and care. We're seeing a huge explosion in telemedicine, really fueled by COVID. It existed before then, but one of the good things that came out of COVID is people realize, look, I can do a lot with this,
Hmm.
and I can see a doctor and have a prescription ordered in 15 minutes on my phone, go pick it up, and I'm back on my couch in less than 30 minutes. And oh, by the way, the cost of that experience was about a third of what a in-person visit would have cost you to go see your doctor,
Sure.
and it would have taken up 2 or 3 hours of your day.
Sure.
So there's a lot of that kind of education that we need to continue to do.
Well, I'm going to give a little plug for the data security side of that education here, because one thing I love about you benefits fellas is that one of those benefits that is often included is a discount or some free version of LifeLock or similar type of data protection. So let's make sure that
Yep.
nobody overlooks that one.
Gotcha. Perfect. We'll put it on our employee navigator system as an optional feature. People
Please
can
do.
buy it. Yeah.
So, obviously benefits, it's something that's the owner's trying to be generous. They're trying to be a good steward. They're trying to be a good leader. When you're designing a plan, what comes to mind for those principles that you want to make sure that they have in mind?
I think when I look at the employee benefit package that's offered to a company, I can kind of tell how leadership and the owners feel about their company. Are we doing the minimum to get by? And if that's what all your budget allows, then that's what we have to work with, right? But even with a modest budget, you can put together a comprehensive benefit package that includes benefits for the employees, guarantee issue, no underwriting, um, voluntary life and disability, for example, for people that otherwise couldn't qualify for that, have the ability to get coverage through an employer-sponsored program, and it's done through payroll deduction. So again, whether the company's paying for all of it, some of it, or none of it, having a comprehensive package that looks and feels like a much larger company is important. And then administering that correctly and professionally is a big deal too. Nobody wants to fill out paper anymore. Most today's people want to apply for a job on their phone. We want to scan a QR code and a benefit guide and do open enrollment and education, and then have that data, flow back to a payroll system, have the enrollment information automatically flow to a carrier so that my carrier invoices, match what my payroll records reflect, and we're not over or underpaying for people that should or should not be on your benefits. All of the data and technology integration. I used to joke that, like, in our industry, you had to figure out how to save companies money on benefits and be able to shop benefits once a year to open enrollment. That was the bulk of the job. And that today still is very important. If we can't do that best in class, we don't deserve to be in the business. So we do that very well. But our jobs have become as much about insurance, or as much about technology and compliance guidance, as it is about insurance. So we really become partners with our clients. We have a very high touch service model for our company. I think stronger than anybody's in our market in terms of the number of people that we assign dedicated to each client. And those folks are completely focused on consulting and bringing expertise and guidance to the company, doing great account management and client service. And they're not worried about selling and taking a customer, going out golfing on Fridays and, always having an eye out for the next client. They're focused 100% on service. So I think that's a hallmark of our company that's served us very well.
I think that's great. And I mean, we know that you've actually split those roles in your organization to make sure that there's obviously need people out there to find the new clients, but we all know that they can't be servicing those people at the same time. So you've really built out a robust team to make sure that happens. And the feedback that I've gotten from others that work with you is just off the charts. So you've really built a substantial team there, and I think that that's really important.
Thanks, Matt. I think almost every new customer we get is a referral from somebody. So, we know we're not going to win all of them, but we've got a handful of us that will go out and do the kind of initial greeting and consultation and sorting out whether they're a good prospective client or not. And then usually by the second or third meeting, we've figured out which consulting team is going to work with them and service team is going to work with them, and introducing everybody so that we're all on the same page. And I think our clients appreciate knowing, hey, they can call me. I'm a 24/7 guy. And I've been that way for 25 plus years, and it's served us well. So people know that, they can call if there's a problem, and I stay involved when things are really good or really bad usually. But we've just learned that rather than having, a whole bunch of salespeople in our organization, we do better by having a very strong and robust service team who are focused on client retention. And everybody here is rewarded on client retention and company growth. We pay our people to go get certifications and credentialing and licensing because we want to, try to be the smartest people in the industry in the room. And that's a never-ending battle to stay on top of all of this stuff. So all of that feeds into our culture, and we're blessed to have a really good one.
That's awesome. Let's bring it in for a landing here. Let's go with Empower here. If somebody's listening, watching, wants to get their arms around, benefits this quarter, because we know this is early in the year. Benefits usually are a thought that happen in the end of the year. What's a realistic, first step that they should take right now? Is there some sort of audit or assessment or something like that they can do to kind of know what's going 100%. On and get their planning going?
50 to 60% of the companies in America renew their benefits on January 1. And so it's locked, bumps into year end, a lot of activity at year end. You get through it and you're like, okay, I don't have to deal with that. Now is the best time if you want to interview another broker, is to do it now while it's fairly fresh in your mind. Vet us out. And if you're going to hire us to be your broker, do it now so that we can work together and get to know each other over the next several months, and really have a game plan in line. If you think about an NFL football team, they start filling their 90-man roster the day after their season ends in January. And by the time the draft comes along, they might have another 8 or 10 spots still open in April. And then the roster's set. And they begin meetings and training and working together. And then football season starts in late August, early September, right? It's the same way with a broker team. We want to get to know you. Do we need to consider technology changes? We can do that out of a normal cycle. We can make decisions on non-medical benefits in June or July, right? If we want to make a design change or shop and vet some of those things out. So there's work we can do before your renewal comes out that's really important. So that's kind of the last step in the planning process. And then we were able to make decisions in an organized, logical way affect change at renewal and open enrollment. So we see most of our new business activity right now. We're right in the thick of it right now.
That's great. I mean, if I'm thinking of it, as a business owner, this is the opportunity now to try before you buy a little bit, right? Is talk to you, see what you can, what value you can bring throughout the year here before somebody decides to, maybe move all their benefits your way.
Absolutely. I tell clients, like, you're interviewing us and you're looking at us through a couple of lenses. One is, do I trust you? And so that's earned over time. But I think, we have lots of points of contact with every new client that comes in. We have a center point of trust where our reputation's on the line, and we take that very seriously. And over time, we'll continue to build and earn that trust. But then, do you know what you're talking about? Are we bringing fresh ideas to the table, things that they haven't heard before? Are we successful? Yes, we are. We're a top 1 percentile agency with most of the major carriers in Michigan. We've got great clout with all of those carrier partners. I sit on Blue Cross's Leadership Council, and HAP's Leadership Council. We've got another executive on our team that sits on Priority Health's Leadership Council. I've sat on United Healthcare's Leadership Council. So we have strong relationships with all the carriers, and we're a top tier agent in every respect, one of the largest privately held benefit shops in Michigan, and that mass and volume matters. And then I think, we don't have to be best friends with our clients, but I think they need to be excited when they see our name on the phone. So if we call, it's like, hey, it's Wilshire, it's Wilshire. So we just can't be annoying, and I think we do a pretty good job of not being annoying.
Good job.
So those are just some of the filters in terms of interviewing us. And the best way to do that is to have a kind of an exploratory conversation. If there's enough interest there, we'll go through a deep dive, tear their benefit package apart, come in and do a mock presentation. So you see how we think, and they get a chance for the personalities in the room. And do we want to work with these people? Do we want them to be our quarterback for benefits going forward?
Love it.
And it's
and you said you're serving over 400 companies here in the region, in the middle market size. So
yeah.
400 companies can't be wrong. So you've got some serious social proof there too.
Had our best. We were blessed. Thank you for our best retention year ever last year, which was really awesome.
That's fantastic.
So, hopefully doing something right.
We'll wrap it up here. How can people get in touch with you if they're ready to make some looking or take a good look at what's going on with their benefits?
Happy to just, you can reach us through our website at wilshirebenefits.com. Happy to just call me directly. My direct line is 248-269-2116. We do have our annual HR summit coming up on March 12th at the Centerpoint Marriott in Auburn Hills, and that's a great day to spend with our clients, our staff. A lot of our vendors are going to be in the room. We have significant leadership speakers from Henry Ford Health System this year, from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Our labor and employment law attorney is going to give a phenomenal update. It's a really great day. It's like kind of throwing a wedding for our clients, right? Very much like the Kickstart event, but would love to have anybody who's dealing with these issues attend and check us out.
Well, we'll make sure that the folks that attended Kickstart get an invitation to this, and we'll see you soon. So long for now, Dave.
Sounds great. All right, thanks, Matt.